Let the church say amen. Y'all better go ahead before I get up and give a praise dance. Y'all better stop now, because I just finished praying. Okay, now I get on here and give y'all a praise. You know what I'm saying? Because I just finished my morning prayer. You know what I'm saying? Before I got to the coffee. Amen. So I don't have a lot of time today because praise him. Come on, praise him. Come on, praise him. Y'all better, okay, get up out this seat. All right, I don't have a lot of time today, so we got to get into it quick because there's a few things to cover, and I have a meeting after this because I told you I started my consulting business. The link is in the bio if you want to check out the website, so on and so forth. All right, so I think let's start with the Met Gala, because the reason I want to start with the Met Gala is because I feel like it's more than important. I'm not even going to get into the looks again because I did some of the looks on my page, on my TikTok page, and chef's kiss. I'm going to finish the looks because y'all came for me because there were a few people that I missed that I hadn't seen yet. So we're going to get to the Met Gala looks at a later time. But right now, I just want to talk about the fact that the Met Gala has this year made history. It raised the most amount of money that it's ever raised in this, I think, 77 years that the Met Gala has ever been around. They raised over 33 million or $31 million for the first time in history. I just want to point out that the theme this year was also Bliggity Black. Okay? The theme this year, the Dapper Dan, the Black excellence, the theme this year was so black. And I truly believe, I believe it in my heart, that when you bring Black culture to the forefront, when Black culture is the foundation by which anything is created on, that it brings out it brings out the next level, right? It always takes things to the next level. And that's no shade, and I'm not trying to cause a divide because I know where people go with this, but whenever Black folks are responsible for or creating or have created something, it always comes out excellent. So the fact that this was the most bliggity Black Met Gala that has ever been done, and the most money was raised at this Met Gala speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think there's something so important about recognizing the fact that Black folks get in spaces and Black creatives get in spaces and they take things to new heights and new levels. And what's even more amazing about this is that that funding that was raised through Black culture, because let's call it what it is being used to make sure that the Met Gala can continue to display Black art and Black excellence in the museum. It is completely funded. It's the Metropolitan Museum is completely self-funded, and the money that is raised by that allows for Black creatives to continue to exist in the art space. And also, all of those people that cleared, Tiana Taylor, A$AP Rocky, all of them, many of them were wearing Black designers or were styled by Black stylists. So even that in of itself, like the exposure that Black designers and Black artists and Black creatives got from the Met Gala is just so important. And I've never been one to follow the Met Gala. I always thought it was something that's just too uppity for me. But for this year, to see all those people and those looks, the Black excellence, the way that the aunties and uncles came out and ate down, they tore the house down. It just made my heart warm, and I love to see it. So shout out to the fact that the Met Gala has literally raised the highest amount of money they've ever raised, and it was all thanks to Black culture and Black excellence. So shout out to the home team. You know what I'm saying? We did our big one, and it's something about us still being able to make Black history in the midst of being villainized, demonized, and called DEI hires. That really makes it even more special, right? Because when you have a president who has been trying to push the narrative that Black folks are DEI hires and has been trying to get rid of DEI because he thinks that's going to even the playing field. And at this point, it's like you can't stop us. And this is proof that we're not DEI hires because black people are still thriving. Also, I did not talk about how ABC Elemental P was not invited to the Met Gala. I didn't think that he was going to be invited to the Met Gala. When DDG, DVD, Elemental P, whatever his name is, did that, he pulled the little stunt because he was trying to get invited to the Met Gala. He came outside with his purse and his bell bottom pants, looking like bag lady, you gon' hurt your back, carrying all them bags like that. He really tried. He cut off the locks. Y'all didn't see. He pulled the stunt. He cut off the locks. He came with his little purse, his little man purse, and was holding it to the side with the bell bottoms. Okay. And it didn't do it for him. He didn't get the invite. All of that. He came out, he thought he was a fashionista. He thought he ate down with that little bag lady picture. I swear to God, I couldn't get the song out my head for weeks. Bag lady, you gon' hurt your back, carrying all them bags like that. All right. Sorry. Okay. The next thing is the Diddy trials updates. I'm trying my best to keep y'all updated on the Diddy trials, even though I will say that there's not been many updates because at this point they're doing jury selection. So a lot of what's going on is really based on them trying to find the right jurors. A few things I will say. One is that they've added people to the jury pool. They've added 15 new people to the jury pool, but they're all men. Now, I have questions about why all men would be added to the jury pool, although they're saying that one of the men had significant feelings about the Cassie tape. So I don't know if that's going to work in his favor because they're saying that that some of the people who were interviewed had significant feelings. Now, the other thing that I want to say is that he added a new lawyer to his legal team. The lawyer did also, the people that were added, they're just added to the jury pool. So the jury has not been finalized or fully selected. They added 15 men to the pool of people that could potentially be jurors. So that's not fully established yet. Like they haven't given us the jury yet. Now, the other thing I want to say that I think is kind of questionable is that they're allowing Diddy's jurors to be able to go home. They're not being held or like kept in a hotel like they usually do in high profile cases. They're allowing them to go home at the end of each day after court. Now, here's why I think that's important. If we know that, right, they're not being sequestered. If we know that that Diddy has a history of trying to mess with witnesses, or he has tried to bribe other witnesses and all that other stuff, why are y'all allowing these people to go home? How is that safe? You get what I'm saying? Because at that point, I feel like you're giving him the ability to turn the jurors, right? And we're talking about somebody who has so much money and so much access to power. One of the jurors that they interviewed said that he has enough money to buy his innocence. And I feel like that is spot on. So why are the jurors being allowed to go home and he knows who the jurors are, right? His kids and his family are said to be in court the entire time. Now, if we know that he's found ways to talk to witnesses or try to turn witnesses or try to manipulate witnesses, they found phone calls, they found letters in his jail cell. Why are the jurors being allowed to go home each day? That just feels like a risk to me. It feels like if I'm a juror and there's someone like Diddy who has all of this money, he can literally send them money to turn them. He can say to somebody, go to this juror, convince them to give me a not guilty plea or convince them to make this a mistrial. Like, why is that allowed? I don't think that they should be allowed to go home. I think he has a history of tampering with witnesses and evidence. To me, this is why I say, I don't think that he's going to get away completely free. But what I will say is, I do think that they're creating a space by which he can be named not guilty. Like I do, Diddy's reach goes so far. If you watch the documentaries, people talk about the fact that they couldn't even go to the police because Diddy has the police in his pocket. You know what I'm saying? So there's a world in which he really could buy his freedom, and I believe that. And y'all know I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I can't see the purpose of why you would allow these jurors to be out in public freely roaming around instead of having them in a hotel somewhere where no one can access them, where they can't be tampered with, where they can't be convinced or swayed. I don't know. I wouldn't have, if I were the judge, I wouldn't have allowed it. They would have to stay in a hotel. They would have to be put up in a hotel because we've seen in the past, he's tried to tamper with witnesses or try to convince witnesses or turn them. And so he can't be trusted. And this trial is too sensitive for you to allow the jurors to be able to go home, in my personal opinion. This is my opinion. Now, I also want to say that he has added a new lawyer. The reason that it's important to note that he added this new lawyer at the last minute is because the new lawyer is a black woman, and she's a black woman who is a survivor of SA. Now, it's quite obvious that that note is not important to us because I'm not sure what her being a survivor of SA has to do with anything. But what I will say is I believe that the reason that they are telling us this information is because they are going to try to, if you put a black woman who survived SA in to defend a man who is being accused of SA, to be the one to cross-examine women or victims who are accusing him of SA, how do you think that looks? It's basically saying that you have a woman who is saying that she's a survivor, and so she knows. And this is also like quite problematic because the idea that just because you survived SA, that makes you in any way an expert on all SA cases is kind of insane. Because what relevance does that play? Right? Like you can have your own lived experience. That doesn't mean that you can tell people what they've actually experienced or not experienced. And from what I've heard online and what I've read is that she has a history of being really good at cross-examining the potential victims. And so I just think it's strange that she took the case. But again, when you have someone like Diddy who can essentially buy their freedom, this is what happens. He has enough money for someone who has been a victim of SA to get in front of a court and say, I'm a victim of SA, and I believe that he's not guilty. That's how far his reach goes. That's how far his money goes. Because it's obvious that it doesn't feel right for her to take the case. But when your money is that long, and someone said that I thought his accounts were frozen or his funds were frozen. I'm sure his funds are frozen, but if you remember, they were saying that people were alleging that a lot of the royalties and everything from all those artists' music and stuff like that were put in his kid's name. There's a lot of money that is in his kids and his mother's name, from what they've been saying. Diddy has so much money, and the people around him have so much money that even if all of his accounts were frozen, he still has access to millions of dollars. And this is what I'm saying. When someone is that rich, there's only but so much you can do. Like Diddy is one of the richest men in the country. Like there's only so much you can do. But I do think it's strange that they're putting this woman on to be the face of the cross-examination. But I also know that when you have that much money, people are willing to sell their souls. People are willing to sell their souls because they're about to make a bag. And this is such a high-profile case that career-wise, if they do win this case and her cross-examination is the reason that they win this case, she's never going to have to look for a job again. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's how a lot of people think. Like this is a big step for her career. And though it's a horrible way for her to go out, that's what she's doing. So at this point, it's kind of scary. And I just think that there's too many, right now, the way that I'm watching the case, um, the build up for the case, I think that there's too much room for error. I feel like a mistrial I feel like a mistrial is brewing. I feel like between what they're allowing with the jurors, this new lawyer, and so on and so forth, that they are plotting to get a mistrial. And and again, when your money is that long, you got certain people in your pocket. You got certain people that you could reach. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that I do think that he'll get some sort of charge, but I do also think that they're going to try to either hit us with a mistrial or they're going to say that they're going to give him time served. I truly believe that. And the other thing is, he's showing up to court. Someone like Diddy is such a narcissist. He's the definition, textbook definition of a narcissist. He's showing up to court with his hair extremely gray. He looks disheveled. He continues to tell the judge that he's nervous. This is all a part of like painting a picture of Diddy and trying to humanize him. They want people to see him as human. They want people to see him in a different light than the monster that he is. They don't want people to think of the video of him and Cassie in the hallway of that hotel. They want people to think of him as this sad black man who's been in prison for so long that his hair is gray and he doesn't look the same and he's not in the best spirits. But from what I understand, they were still making jokes in the courtroom. So he can't be that miserable, because I know that if I was in jail for that long and I knew I was innocent, I wouldn't be making no jokes in the courtroom. So I just truly believe that he got so many people in his pocket that what it feels to me like is that we're leaning towards a mistrial, or they're going to say something, they're going to give him such a low charge that they're going to say time was served. But that's just my personal opinion on it, and it is scary. Now, the other thing is Michael B. Jordan was named in the case, and I made a video about this, I think yesterday, but I wasn't able to go live. So what I'm hearing is Michael B. Jordan is named in the case because he's been a witness. So I think he's testifying against Diddy, to say basically, I guess he was a witness in like some issue. And I don't know, and y'all can clarify for me, somebody was saying that Michael B. Jordan and Cassie had some dealings in the past. I don't know how true that is. I don't know what that's about, but I guess Diddy in some way has done something that he's a witness to, and that's why he's being named as one of the people that the jurors like are being questioned about. So I don't know of anything about Lori Harvey and Diddy or how that would pan out, but I think similar to Kid Cudi, he's a witness in the case because he had witnessed something that was inappropriate. So I don't necessarily know that he was being a freaky frog at the freak offs. I don't know, and I'm giving y'all what I understand and what I know. I don't know the full details of the facts, but I think that he's being brought in as a witness and not as someone who was involved in the freak offs. And I'm still waiting for the list of names of the people who was being freaky frogs at the freak offs. That's why I can't wait for this week to be over. Yes, the jury selection is important, but I want to hear the facts of the case, because at this point, I don't necessarily have full faith in our legal system to say that he's going to get the time that he deserves. I don't. I think that the juror who said that he has enough money to buy his freedom is absolutely correct. But I think, right, there's always the like court and then there's the people's court. So I want to know what went on and who was there, because that to me, it feels more relevant than this jury selection process. There's that. Speaking of freaky frogs, I hate to have to do this, and I hate to be the one to bring it up because it just feels like wow. But have y'all heard what is going on with Smokey Robinson? Have y'all heard about the allegations being made against Smokey Robinson and his wife? Okay, So I'm gonna try to do my best to say this without getting banned. So Smokey Robinson is being accused by four of his former staff who were, I guess, cleaning, the folks who were responsible for cleaning. So according to the documents, the four women filed the lawsuit Tuesday in Los Angeles Superior Court as Jane Does, again with the Jane Does. They allegedly have been essayed by the entertainer as they served as housekeepers in the California home. The women also accused his wife, Franz, of creating a hostile work environment using ethnically pejorative words and language while screaming at her husband. They also claim that she did not take any proper actions to prevent misconduct after alleged cases from other women were reported and settled. The first Jane Doe said she worked for Smokey from January 2023 through February 2024 and accused him of essaying her at least 7 times. The second Jane Doe was employed from 2014 to 2020 and alleges that she was essayed at least 23 times. The third Jane Doe worked for the entertainer from February 2012 till 2024 and says that she was assaulted at least 20 times. And the fourth Jane Doe was Franz's assistant and the chef from 2006 to 2024, and she alleged that she had been assaulted in 2007. The women explained that they did not immediately take action as they feared it could affect their immigration status as well as their livelihood, familiar reprisal, and embarrassment. So, from what I understand, from what came of the legal documents and what's actually being said, is that he not only R-worded them, but he forced them to perform oral. He forced them to perform oral on him, and he imposed oral on them, and he R'd them several times. And so listen, Smokey's 85 years old. You know what I don't like though? I think what I don't like is that I've heard all of I've heard some people talking on the radio, and they were saying that this is ridiculous, like these allegations are getting out of control. But it feels to me like we're being dismissive of the fact that this culture has existed for so long. And the reason that I believe it is not even, it's like, yes, we should believe the victim, but also this culture has been allowed in the industry for so long. Like, y'all have to understand that this was normalized. When you think about people from his day and age, like Bill Cosby, who was given horse tranquilizers. Like, yes, there's a lot of allegations coming forward, but it's because this has been allowed for so long. Do you know how many victims are existing in this space? But because it was normalized for so many years, nobody was coming forward. So for me, it's like, to hear people saying like, oh, this is just, at this point, this is this is a money grab, and people are chasing people's monies and making these allegations and coming out as Jane Doe. Like, y'all have to realize that, and what's even crazier is that the people who are saying this have had history of alleged essays. You get what I'm saying? So the fact that people are trying to make it seem like at this point it's getting out of control, it's not getting out of control. It was already out of control. It's been out of control for years. People have not been safe around people in the industry. And because people in the industry have so much money and so much power, it's been allowed. Diddy is only on trial because he's a freaky frog that took it too far publicly. You know what I'm saying? But these men, and even some of the women in the industry, have been doing this for years. It's been normalized. Their marriages, people are married and know that when I listen to what's her name, Corinne Steffens, Superhead, and she talked about the men that she was with in the industry, and she talks about the fact that their wives knew that it was going on. They just didn't want it to be seen publicly. Like a lot of the wives knew what their husbands were doing and didn't want it to be public. They were okay with it. This is not new information. This is not something that just started happening. Like and again, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. I just tend to believe that when people are accusing people in the industry of certain things, especially people who are older in the industry, I tend to believe them. I tend to believe them. I truly do. Because it's been proven time after time that these people were doing insane things. Bill Cosby himself was talking about how it was normal back then, the horse tranquilizers and to be drugging women and all this other stuff. You're talking about Bill Cosby. This is the man who was everybody's favorite dad on television. Black folks were watching the Cosby Show and looking at the Huxtables as this perfect family. And this man was literally giving women horse tranquilizers and drugging them to the point where they were not capacitated. And this is why I also believe everything that's being said about Shannon Sharpe. No shade. Like, all of these things to me seem very real. Yeah, and right, because when Rick Ross said, put a Molly in a drink, she ain't even know it. And that's what happens when you have too much power and control. These men, and they want more control. They want to be more dominant. They're doing these things, and it's been normalized. And it's like now that it's coming to light, everybody want to call everything a money grab. I don't think it's a money grab, and I think it's very real and very true that if someone with that much power is telling you that your life is at risk and your livelihood is at risk, and if these women are saying that they were fearful that they were going to face deportation, I think that is very true. I'm sorry, and I know people, and people are so inept to, especially because Smokey Robinson is old now. He's 85 or whatever it is. People are going to paint this picture that he's this older man and that this don't make sense. There's no age limit for these older men. That doesn't work that way. The last thing I want to talk about, because I have to hop offline, because I have a meeting, is I don't know if y'all heard about the case with Rodney Hinton Jr., the father who I feel like the father who avenged his son. Those are going to be the words that I used. But essentially, there was a man in Cincinnati, I think it is, correct me if I'm wrong, and his son was unalived by the police. Body cam footage, he was shown the body cam footage. Now, the son was unalived by the police. They alleged that he had a gun. In the body cam footage, I guess one of the officers started screaming, "He has a gun, he has a gun." Now, in no form or fashion was this young man firing at them, right? So even if he had a weapon, he was not firing at them. Now, he was running from them, I guess, behind the building. It sounds like he was running away from them and they were chasing him. Now, why you would need to pull your gun and shoot at someone who was running away from you sounds questionable. And they basically unalived that young man. So the father went to the police station. I guess when he heard the news, he was shown the body cam footage. Now, they said that the father was so distraught that he wasn't even able to drive home after they saw the body cam footage, that his family didn't want him to drive a car because they did not feel like he was in the right frame of mind. So then he left the precinct, got in his car, and or they drove, whatever. He got in his car. He later came back to the precinct, whatever. Later that day, he went and took his car and struck a deputy or a former deputy, someone who was retired. And they're now charging him with unaliving the officer. Now, his lawyer is trying to go with the plea for insanity. And I agree with the plea for insanity, because imagine you get called down to a police station. They show you video footage of your son running from the police, someone screaming he has a gun, and then shooting him in the back. as he was running away. Who wouldn't be insane after that? Who wouldn't be insane? Now, they are saying that he does have some priors. He has priors of domestic violence and battery or something like that from years ago. But either way, if I saw, and honestly, I kind of think that that's going to help him because his lawyer is saying that he has a history of mental health issues. But I just clearly think that I think that it's fair for someone to see a video like that and to feel like they're about to lose their mind, because I would lose my mind and it would cause me to do something insane, especially if they can prove that he has a history of mental health. Y'all shouldn't have, why would you, to show somebody that video and think that they're not going to respond when you killed their son? You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing that was so clear to me about the police officers, I don't know if y'all seen the clip, but there's a clip going around of the courtroom. And in the courtroom, there's a black man who walks up to the door and looks like he's trying to knock on the door to get Rodney's attention. And the entire police force stood up to attack that man and get him out of the courtroom. When I tell you they were so aggressive, the man didn't do anything. He literally walked up to the glass and said, "That's my brother." And they literally, when I tell you a swarm of police officers who were in there looking like a gang, rushed this man like they was going to do something to him. And he literally did absolutely nothing. He did nothing that was unsafe. He didn't cause any harm. He didn't threaten nobody. He literally walked up to the glass to see his brother. And they're trying to question whether or not it was his biological or blood brother. What difference does it make? The man was not causing any harm. The fact that the police responded like that already lets me know everything I needed to know. Y'all are aggressive and use force in general. So the fact that he avenged his son, I don't blame him, because it's given that y'all police department don't have any control. Because why did 15, 20 officers need to get up and swarm that man who literally went up to the glass to talk to his brother? It's giving that the police department and where they're at is already very aggressive. And again, I'm not saying that, because from what I understand, the officer or the former officer who was unalived wasn't involved in, I don't think he was involved in what happened to Rodney's son. But sometimes it doesn't matter when you're dealing with that level of rage. And you have to also understand that, yes, this is an incident about his son, but when you feel like, when you're watching community violence consistently happen against your people, when you're seeing our people being killed by the police on a national level, when this is our reality time and time again, it's so much more than just that moment. This is something that we are, as people, we're tired of. You understand what I'm saying? There's a historical context that I think people skip over because they're looking at this moment. But this is a historical problem. This is a larger issue. This is an issue that we're dealing with as a nation, and people are fed up. People are fed up. And when you're dealing with this level of trauma on a macro level, and then to have it so close to home, for it to be your child, and you're continuing. And then when you're watching on a macro level and on a national level that people are not being held accountable for unaliving people's kids and unaliving people who have done nothing wrong, then of course people are going to start to take things into their own hands, because I don't trust the justice system to do what it's supposed to do in my child's name. So that means that me as a parent, I have to take care of my kid. It's my job to make sure that my kid is solid. So now I got to do what I got to do because I don't trust the justice system to do so. And I think that's what people need to come to terms with. I think those are the conversations we need to have, because people are acting like they can't understand why this man would do what he, but you have to realize that people don't trust the system anymore. The system is broken. Y'all, I gotta go because I got a meeting in 5 minutes. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. If y'all don't already do so, make sure you're following me on YouTube. If you miss any of our morning coffee lives, they're gonna be posted on YouTube. Please also go watch my other content. Make sure y'all lock in. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Also started my new business. If you're looking for career coaching or life coaching, go to the link in the bio. You can go to my website and reach out to me. If your job is looking to support you all with career coaching or life coaching, and they would like to help you to get involved, please reach out to me and we can set something up. But I'm accepting new clients, so please feel free to reach out. Link is in the bio, but make sure you subscribe to the YouTube and all my other social media. I love y'all. Have a great day. Be great.